Malik Zaire here with me. We're going to chat a little bit about Notre Dame football, a little bit about all the rumblings going on at the quarterback position, wide receiver. So, Malik, thanks for the time today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of get your perspective. You've been in this spot before, starting quarterback on a team. You're winning games, but maybe the fans aren't as happy. Maybe other people are saying the offense needs to do a little bit more. Does that actually get through to you guys in the locker room? Are you hearing that? Are you feeling that extra pressure, or are you kind of ignoring all that?
Yeah, it's definitely a pressure that you put amongst yourself, the offensive guys, especially, you don't want to go out there scoring 12 points as the number 5 team in the country against an unranked opponent. So there's a bunch of hidden gems in the offense, which I think a lot of people notice. And when they don't see him get the ball, or we scoring 7 points on offense every week, it becomes pretty frustrating.
What do you think it is that kind of holds certain guys back from showing their entire skill set, like a Claypool in the Notre Dame offense?
Well, it's not a real commitment to an offensive identity on a week to week basis or even a year to year basis. I think because there's so much talent on a team like that with limited uh, play calling ability from the staff, it just shows that by example, it's hard to find how to get the ball to everybody and make everybody happy. I think the style of offense that we run is very one dimensional. We can get hell bent on giving the guy the ball 50 times a game and he'd be a great player and all, but it's that one dimensionality of the offense that, if that happens to stop, we have nothing to fall back on or nothing else to switch it up with.
Third down and long. Clemson expecting pass. Play before they blitz. That time they played zone, and Turner with the big interception.
When you were in that system, and maybe it's changed a little bit, are you reading the whole field? Is it one or two reads? Because when I think about force feeding guys, I think like, okay, he's probably got one read here and he's going to get that guy the ball. Otherwise, he's checking down or he's tucking and running. Is it actually a progressive read, or how was that working when you were there?
Well, the problem that we ran into at Notre Dame is that we were almost too smart for ourselves. In the quarterback room, that's where it starts. And a lot of the problem that, I had as a young quarterback going into that room, as well as just developing in the offense and having so many different offensive coordinators, is that there's too many options on plays, and especially with the pass plays for guys to read, So, for example, we get a play call and that may be described as a 1-high, 2-high read. And our progression or understanding of the play is a 30-minute dissertation on how to go about the play. So not only is it too long wordage and verbiage when you're learning from the board to the field, but translating that, you don't have 30 minutes on the field to get it done either. So, that's where it starts. When you having too many different options on plays and how to read it and so many what ifs and it's too much to process and it makes it complicated to simplify it. So, when you're seeing guys missing throws that are right in front of guys, or him being late to throws or running around, so and it may not look as if he's as fluid as he can be, that's probably because he's looking at too much. The key to playing the game at a high level is to be able to simplify. And the Notre Dame offense is, it's obviously it's probably evolved a little more since then, but it was definitely too complicated to play simplified enough to put up those numbers that you see from a lot of the Big 12 schools, for instance.
Right. Yeah, and just for the people, I guess, that are going to watch this and may not be deep in the football, the 1-high, 2-high, we're talking safety look there, right? And we're talking about trying to discern whether this is cover 2, cover 3, man coverage, that type of stuff, which is incredibly important. You're talking about how complex it is to learn the offense. Like, do you think that's what holds some of these guys back? I mean, fans are like, where's Jordan Johnson? Where's this young cat? Like, where are these guys at? And do you think that's what's holding these guys off the field, is that the system's so complex for a new receiver or a new skill position to come in that it takes a couple years before they can actually get out there? Or how would you think about that?
There's some cases where there are guys that just aren't ready, that from a hesitation standpoint, from a player's perspective. If anything, if a player's not playing as young, it's just because they're hesitating, and that could cause them to play a little slow in the field. But more times than not, it's more of a coaching thing than anything. You got these guys in power that they have a lot of control over who plays and who doesn't play on a collegiate level. So a lot of times, if you don't see a kid playing, it could very well much just be just a coaching decision. He just doesn't want to play him, or he just has a guy that he favors over the other. So unlike the NFL, where they're gonna play the guys they paying the most. In college, they're gonna play the guys they like the most. Not being able to catch up to the playbook is kind of the media and the coaches reasons why, because it's easy to say a kid can't pick up on the skills or the playbook fast enough because there's 50,000 plays, but you're not calling 50,000 plays in a game. So that's something for people to know out there, is that anytime somebody's saying it's about a playbook issue, it could be, but more times than not, it's not. For those guys that are super talented that don't have the football IQ yet, they're going to be in the game and they're going to have a go route or a slant or a run right, or they're going to find a way to put them in. So it's never really a player issue as it is opposed to just a coaching favoritism or just coaches just being how they are. So politics is where that plays in.
Yeah, and I think kind of what you're touching on, right, is something that we both know Mike Felder, and that's kind of some conversations I've had with him, is like, this is the stuff people don't really like to talk about, right, when they talk about college sports. But a coach, once you sign that LOI and you're committed, they can kind of make or break your career, right? Whether you're a superstar or whether you're an average guy, right? They determine how much you're getting on the field, if the ball's coming to you, whatever it may be. And, it's not always just you're not good enough to beat the guy out in front of you, or to your point, you don't know the playbook, which I think shocks people because they think it's this meritocracy and we're just putting all the best guys out there, but that's not always the case.
It's definitely not I think that's probably the biggest thing I learned about football. It's really not even about being the best, man. You have to learn how to play the game from between the ears more so than anything physical, because a lot of what you experience in football, you can't control. Let's say 80% of your journey when you get into, higher levels and even some sub levels of football from a division standpoint, because a lot of times, everybody is thinking that these coaches are like a bunch of Andy Reids, and they're really not. And a lot of nepotism plays into football. So if that's your boy growing up, or, in the trenches with you as a GA, there's a lot of more relational contact than it would be from a qualification standpoint, because even these guys that are qualified, you can be 105 and 105, but because you've been doing it for so long, it gives you a good credit going into some of these positions. So coaches definitely make or break on a collegiate level a football player's career.
I think one of the things that used to always bother me watching it would be, a guy's not getting his time at a school. He goes to put in a transfer, and the coach is like, all right, but you can't transfer to any schools within our conference. So,
it's surprising to see the type of excitement that other schools will have for you once you do a second recruitment, because you would think, like, if I'm not getting no time here, like, what the hell is going on? But you come to find out that there's schools that definitely will want you right now. You could play right now, which could give you the confidence. A lot of time guys lose a lot of confidence in college, especially in the younger, if it's not working out how they want to, because of just the whole politics of the game that aren't really explained. And like you said, they're not really talked about. So you going into situations where you really are locked in on what the idea of what they gave you, of what you're going to go into. Come to find out, they gotten guys that you hadn't even heard of that's taking reps over you, or they got you jumping in all type of different rotations. And, there's so many different things that play into it. So I really believe that having a good relationship with the head coach, as opposed to, your little minion crony coaches that are, on the recruiting trail is important, because that's that's gonna be the guy you gotta lean on the most, when it comes down to it.
We gotta wrap this up. I gotta jump, but I'm gonna ask you a few quick things, and then we'll go. Who is the guy where you're like, and maybe we shouldn't admit to this, but you're like, damn the play call, we need a play, I'm throwing it to this guy. It could be high school, it could be college. Who is your dude?
Probably CJ. CJ was when he was a receiver in the slot. Me and him early on in my career. Every time in practice it would be me and him going with each other, and it would be with the three, with the ones, with the two. So I really grew with CJ, and he was actually my first touchdown at Notre Dame.
Okay.
And he was my first touchdown in the spring game. So me and CJ had a great relationship. And then fast forward to when we started together, when Tarian got hurt. And he got in and he ran the whole season. It was just kind of like, meant to be at that time.
I got you. All right, last one. Maybe you don't have anything, but what's the craziest thing somebody's ever said to you on the field, like trash talk, anything?
The craziest thing, I got in USC game, my first time getting in the game, and we're blowing out USC's blowing us out. This is the year we went out there. And I get in, and my first play, we throw throw to Chris Brown, and he runs all the way down the field on the first play when we had no momentum. And I'm going crazy running down the field, and Antoine Woods, that's actually playing D tackle for the Cowboys right now, he was like, "Shut up, bitch, he not good," or something like that. And I knew I was like, all right, let me lock in, because I'm super hyped playing for the first time, and I got this D tackle talking stuff to
Got
me.
him.
It was pretty funny, but it just showed that it's a man's game out there, man. And excitement is good, but you got to finish the job for sure.
No doubt. Hey, Malik, I really appreciate the time, brother. We got to catch up again. I'm gonna keep in touch with you on Twitter and whatnot. And Felder's out there always tweeting crazy stuff, so I love it. But I'll catch up with you later, bro.